Okay, welcome to our next video installment. We want to bring in an update on current conditions out on the golf course. So of course, we've had an enormous amount of rain.
Yes, 21 inches in the month of September, so we're struggling to keep everything dry at this point.
And so that is a challenge for us out there. And we're standing here on 10 as we were driving down. You can see standing water along the left side, and obviously the homeowners who are next, our neighbors, you know, their land flows into ours, and so we end up capturing all of that water as well. So we were going to try to do some drainage along those areas, but we were unable to just because they maintained that ridiculous, you know.
Yeah, there was standing water when at the time we wanted to do it, and we didn't have enough time for them to hang around and wait for us to dry out for them to run the additional drainage along the left side of 10 and 11, and we had talked about doing some in 12. That area was also too wet, so we just stuck with the area in one fairway and also the little pocket on 17 fairway.
So yeah, their equipment would have caused more damage.
Absolutely, massive ruts.
So what we're doing right now is we're back on number 10. We're taking a look at the work that was done. We're standing on top of the grass, the sod that we put in roughly a month ago.
Yep.
And when we did our last video, we gave you a good view of this, and our videographer Ben Deininger is right here. We're going to direct him to take some pan over here to our right, your left, and get a view of some of this work that's been done out here. You can see the line actually where, you know, this is the sod and this is the collar, and this will eventually knit together and we'll get a nice tight you know, marriage of these two things. But in the meantime, I think it's going to get there pretty quick. We're in a good place right now, and I mean, you're going to top dress this.
We're going to continue to top dress the seams and get everything smoothed out as much as we possibly can in the short amount of time we have before the member guest. And we're going to also continue to fertilize weekly, and it'll grow in no time. And I'm expecting a very good result for the event.
Yeah. So this is a project that you know, it's not perfect timing, but I think at the end of the day we'll have a better looking golf course and resolve the issue with this common Bermuda. So one last thing over here while we're on 10, I want to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October, and John was diligent about getting our flags and flag sticks out, the pink ones, for recognition of that. So if you're wondering, that's why they're out here, and we want to support that effort. So thanks very much for taking care of that.
Absolutely. Okay.
So we're on the backside of hole number 5, and you know, this is one of the areas that we did later.
Yes.
Second or third.
Second batch.
And you know, you'll see that it's very smooth transition. Everything is nicely laid out, very well sloped back to the original specs. But you obviously will see, you know, a lot of brown here. It looks like, you know, the grass isn't doing that much, but
right. Yeah, and a lot of this comes from scalping it down. I mean, the first few times you're mowing it, you're taking all that foliage off. It does take a little while for that turf to regenerate new growth, but we keep pushing it with fertilizers, granular and liquid. So it's just a matter of time, you know, some iron, some ammonium sulfate. We'll get this up and running, and it's just a short term that it looks this way.
It'll green up. Yeah. So as we're, you know, moving towards member guests, again, you know, first things first, we want to make sure the surface is okay, and obviously get this knitted in and not have that challenge as we go further down the road. But you know, it's a little brown right now, but we will get it tied in. It feels very firm.
It's very firm, smooth transition.
Feels like the rooting, grass is rooted well so far.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
You know, we're just working on getting it right, and we'll get it in the best shape that we can for member guests. So we're looking forward to that as well. Over here to our right and your left, we've started mowing down some of the Peytons and the long grass that we have out here, so that'll sprout up nicely.
Yeah.
By the time we get to
we're timing it out for the member guest, and we'll let it grow up a little bit, and we'll treat it with a selective herbicide that actually kind of gives it a bronzy color, and it's a nice contrast between the green turf and then the brown or golden brown cordgrass.
And then if you can pan all the way back around, Ben, and that's hole number 7. And you can see the same work done there, and I imagine they did that turf about the same time as this one, so it was in the second batch. Again, you know, I think the main goal here was get it, you know, at the right smoothness and have it all, you know, knit in nicely, and and then we'll get the color back in short order.
That's right.
Okay, so all right, so here we are on number 1, and we're standing where they did some of the drainage work that we installed at the end of our collar work.
Yes.
And John, take us through a little bit of what we're looking at here.
So this is a 2-inch perforated pipe that we buried roughly 12 inches in the ground. We do a little bit of sand underneath that, and then sand on top of that. This pipe is very small. It's all very perforated pipe that has very small gaps in it that the sand cannot get collected in the pipe. So it bridges over the top of that and allows, it's all gravity fed. So you start at your high points and bring them down to your trunk line. You can see this one sends it right out into the pond. It's working phenomenally. I mean, it's perfect timing. We've had tons of rain since we've installed it, and this is the driest part of the fairway now. So we're looking forward to more of this in the future.
So the lines will heal up in the next few weeks.
Yes,
We're
sir.
expecting it to look a lot better by member guests.
Yep.
We keep talking about member guests. That's obviously very much on our mind. We recognize, what you see out here, but a lot of, if you pan back that way, Ben, you can see the spots where they're treating the off-type grasses that are out here. I don't know what is that specifically.
This is sedge here.
Sedge.
that we're treating.
So we're working on, addressing all of that as well. So as you look at it, it doesn't look fantastic, but again, it's all in preparation as we get a month down the road and have our member guest event. So it's a beautiful day today. It's dry.
Finally.
We're gonna have TNL tonight.
Yeah.
And finally getting a little bit drier weather. I think we got a wet weather pattern moving in for the weekend, unfortunately. And we're just not getting far enough ahead in between these rainy events, and it still continues to be a challenge. We're trying to let the water out, I'm sure.
Yes,
on
we're
16.
Correct.
And
There's still a lot of areas on the golf course we're unable to mow. Left of 10, left of 11. We're going to try to work in that tomorrow, push mow it, and weed eat what we can, and without making too big of a mess. So there's a lot of areas we're struggling with a little bit right now. But once we get a little bit drier weather pattern, we'll be back up in shape. We just got to let these areas get firmer to where we can get equipment on them.
yeah, I noticed as we were driving down number 1, there was a pretty big trench just off the fairway, just like
Yeah.
literally, or at the
Exactly.
edge of the fairway
Yeah.
where it was, a
Number
big
10.
rut. And
Yeah.
so these are areas that I think would be dry, but they're just not. And so if you think further left of that fairway and further left on 11, those are just sopping wet,
Yes.
mucky areas.
Yeah.
And I
Collection
imagine when you
areas.
cut that grass, it's going to get a little yellow again
It
initially.
will, and we'll have plenty of time to get it green back up. The rough here, you can't kill the stuff. It's warm in Bermuda. We've tried, and that's what we're facing in the collar. So we'll be back up in shape as long as we can get just a little bit, a week or two with no rain. We'll be in business.
Yeah, so we're working on that. Just unfortunately now we're praying for no rain. We'll manage to water the areas that need to be watered. And so John, again, we're talking about getting ready for member guests right now. You're going to work on getting the green speed up. It'll obviously
Absolutely.
probably be lightning fast by the time we get there.
Of course.
We'll be challenged on those.
Yeah.
We have a great event planned, and we're working on specifics of that today as well, and making sure that the rest of the event goes well. But it's all about the golf, and
Exactly.
our expectation is that it'll be great out here, and we'll have great
Yeah.
weather.
And this week, the greens are a little bit slower. We obviously had Helena move in last week and a lot of windy days, so we were unable to get our primo application on the greens. But we'll catch right back up this week, and they'll be back to the greens that you're familiar with. So.
All right, thanks very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.